Welcome to the Iolani School podcast. I'm John Tamanaha, Director of Interactive Media and frequent morning visitor to the Faculty Lounge, where coffee is usually accompanied by good conversation. This podcast project strives to share that sort of experience as we visit with people associated with Iolani School to hear their personal stories. This is our 23rd episode, and with commencement quickly approaching, we went to the college counseling office and sat down with Mrs. Sue Lee, or Aunty Sue, which is the name everyone knows her by. For the past 3 decades, each and every Iolani graduate has walked through her door. A friend to all, young and old, she is the bedrock of the college counseling office, where her nonstop energy and unending generosity is always on display. This year's commencement will be extra special for Aunty Sue, as her granddaughter Logan Lee graduates to join a long list of Raider alumni in her family. Listen for her priceless stories about Eddie Hamada and others who helped shape our school culture. Her trip down memory lane also led us all the way up to today's Iolani and the folks who continue to make it such a special community. Thanks for downloading. Please enjoy. This is a busy time of year for you folks here.
Yes, it is.
In this office.
Especially because I don't know how this happened, but college counseling has been in charge of baccalaureate and graduation. And I found that out when I started working with Dan Feldhaus in 1991. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not something that everybody knows. Even when I graduated from here, I don't know. You just think that the school's putting it on. That was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember the year,
Yes.
1987. Special year for both of us.
Yes, I started working here and soccer won that year.
Yeah. Boys soccer and girls soccer.
Girls soccer.
First ever.
That was the best.
Girls state title in school history.
Yep.
Yeah, special year. And you began working in the main office.
Main office. I think that's where everybody starts. I followed, first was Noe Chang, and then she went to admissions, Rebbe Kennedy, then she ran the bookstore, and then me. Then after me was Vivi Toto for a while, and she became Glenn Ching's
business office.
Office. And now we have forever Auntie Mel Wakita, who's just the best, Mrs. Aloha. And then in 1991, I moved over to college counseling to work with Dan.
The legendary
Yes.
Dan Feldhaus.
And that was fun. And it was only me and him. And I had to type every student's recommendation for their applications.
Type.
And it didn't
With a
even...
typewriter.
Typewriter. And I thank God for Mr. Bell Ing. I said, I can't use this typewriter. The one that I inherited was so slow and so awful, and I got this wonderful electric one that I didn't have to use whiteout because it had the whiteout tape on it.
IBM Selectric.
Yes, one of those fancy ones.
Weighs about 37 pounds.
Maybe more than that. And you know who uses it now? Business office has it. I think Way has it in the business office. They took it just in case they needed it.
Oh, that's so awesome. And then that's when you found out this office works on commencement
and everything,
and baccalaureate,
amongst other things, and grad attire.
So many things.
But the boys, I don't know if you remember, but the boys had to go to Sato Clothiers in Ala Moana to get fitted.
Well, don't get me started on graduation attire.
I know. Oh, that's right. Your
that's a separate podcast.
Your class caused trouble. 87, because you wore cap and gowns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very controversial.
Oh, and those gowns were these thin nylon things, and when you shook them out, they were so wrinkled. It was like, oh, I don't know how they got the wrinkles out.
So the Dutch jacket of the Iolani School History book, At Thy Call, right,
Yes.
contains pictures of graduation of the class of 87 because there's red and black cap and gown. It looks like graduation, but very unusual It's the only class that ever
did that. And it was like, but you still had to wear your graduation long sleeve shirt, tie, and charcoal
We still
pants.
had baccalaureate.
And and baccalaureate, you still had to wear a jacket.
But
right?
you could wear your own. So we didn't go to Sato clothiers.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the only year.
And then just to wrap it up, what I heard was Headmaster David P. Kuhn issued a memo after that. It said, "Herefore, the decision on graduation attire will come from this office and this office only."
Thank goodness.
And so what is it like, especially at this time of year, working in the college counseling office?
Besides crazy and busy,
Yeah.
and 20 million questions, unfortunately, from everyone, it's
But you're the ones with the answers, so fortunately, you're here.
Hopefully, I have the right answers, and I can, make sure that everyone sees that we try to make baccalaureate and graduation as perfect as we can. And lucky, we have so many people to help us. I mean, from the admin, the teachers, the class advisors, the parents, and our maintenance department, and our AV. Everybody steps in and helps us make it happen.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome. But getting up to that day is really busy, and I have a long check-off list, which slowly gets checked off. But it's that day is special.
Yeah. And probably even more busy and crazy, and the many hands that go into making it. The fact that this will be the fourth year of a different sort of graduation.
Right.
So for many decades, it was the graduation that I experienced 35 years ago between the art building and St. Albans Chapel. And since then, we've had a drive-in, the graduates and families in their cars on the baseball field. Well, that was an in-person graduation.
That was it. It happened, and it was pretty amazing, actually, because thank goodness for Kevin Tomisato and his crew and everybody. Everybody was in alphabetical order in their car, and they got out, and they found the big screens. Everybody could see it. AV helped make sure that it was live streamed to everybody. It was awesome. And then after that, instead of having the kids walk through the line with the faculty clapping for them, they drove through, and we were all standing out there. It was pretty amazing.
It was special in its own way, because the graduates were with their families in a car, and that's not typically how it is. Sometimes, unless you wait in line and rush to a seat, you're not going to be particularly close to your graduate.
Yeah.
But they shared that special time, and then the drive out along between the Alawai Elementary School and Eddie Hamada Stadium was really cool with
and
the kids.
Pictures and posters with all the kids' names on it.
Yeah, the junior class that year did a poster for everyone had graduate.
One.
Yeah.
And then we were all the ladies that work in the offices, we were at the very end to cheer for them, because we went to set up some of the stuff earlier. So that was really neat, very touching.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, so many hands go into doing that. I remember Kings, who's here with us, the sound engineer. I remember talking to him, and they had to, the sound, because it's a huge layout, needed to be delayed or coordinated, because it was a huge spread.
And those big screens, we were so lucky to have those big screens, and we're using them now for all of our graduations, which is really nice.
And so the year after that, we're moving toward a little bit more of a normal situation, but each family was in quadrants on the baseball field, but not in cars. And this year we'll still be on the baseball field, but maybe not in quadrants, a little bit a different sort of layout as we move toward a sense of normalcy. And this year, for the first time, the graduates will be able to meet family and friends on Eddie Hamada Field, as we are used to doing. So that'll be great.
Yep.
This year for you, maybe even extra special. Your only
Yes.
granddaughter, Logan,
Yes, my
graduates
only
with the
granddaughter.
class of
Yes.
2022.
Yep.
How do you anticipate that from your seat? How you're gonna feel?
I don't know. I'm going to be so busy, first of all, getting the lays and everything else what we have to do. But it's going to be special. Hard to say
Yeah.
because sorry, I won't get to see her every day. I don't know whether that's craziness
Yeah.
or not, but it'll be fun and it'll be a real family occasion because her grandfather Larry Ginoza, who graduated in 54, her other grandfather Derek Lee graduated in 65, her dad was 88, her uncle Jeff was 92, her auntie Michelle was class of 93, and her uncle Wendell Look
Class of 78.
was a class of 78. So a lot of family will be there to watch her graduate, and hopefully the next adventure for all the class of 22 will be awesome.
What was it like for you in 88 and 92 when your sons graduated from Iolani school?
Special, but yeah, I was sending them off to college, and we were young parents and spent a lot of fun time after we had empty nests with the other Iolani parents. But it was nice. It was perfect. I never knew what was involved at that time with the class of 88. Even though I started in 87, I wasn't involved in that. And at that time, the greeting area was right around by the art building and the faculty housing. Everybody greeted, their students there for the lays. And then in 92, things changed. But graduation, the people that put it together, they worked so hard. I mean, parents, the junior class parents and the senior class would come and decorate on the art building. And you never saw so many beautiful flowers and arrangements ever. It was absolutely beautiful. So I'm thankful that I've been here for so many graduations to see how it's put together.
Yeah, and graduations on campus,
yes.
which is very cool.
That is the best.
So when you were going over all of the family members that will be here for Logan's graduation, and I've thought about this before for Logan and Devin, that's a lot of coaching in their blood. You're talking about Larry Ginoza, and your sons are coaches. Your son Chris has been the coach of the varsity boys soccer team for several years. Wendell Look is their uncle. And I've seen Logan as the manager of those boys soccer teams. Like, maybe she has some coaching in her blood, or maybe maybe she knows too much about coaching and we'll move on to other things.
No. Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. That's an impressive family heritage.
Yeah, it is. Just happened that way.
Yeah. And, speaking of sports, I would say the ultimate soccer mom, right? I mean, with your sons and Chris coaching the team and, your grandkids playing soccer, really, we'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who's seen more Iolani soccer games than you. Maybe that person exists, but we'd have a hard time finding that person, right?
Oh, I'm sure there's other people. Well, I guess you could say my sons inherited their love for soccer from their father, because when he was here, there was a German teacher, and I don't remember his name. He started soccer at Iolani, and then the other schools, public and private schools, played. So this was like in 63, 64, and 65. And so that's how we became a soccer family.
Yeah, awesome. And it's
It's still there. Yeah, my grandsons all play soccer.
There's no sign of ending.
No, not yet. But it's a fun sport to watch. Not too many rules to follow. Just real simple. Not like how you have to remember for football all the different things and all the different calls. Soccer is just right there, open.
One thing that's more complex than the simplicity of soccer is college counseling. Oh my goodness. The process that these students, and when does it begin? It's not a senior year process.
No.
It begins far before that.
Yeah.
I think in the freshman year, really.
It does start in freshman year slowly. They talk about Todd and all the college counselors start talking about different things to the kids. Like they used to have guidance 9, and there would be a section that was just they would come in to college counseling and learn about our office, and they'd have worksheets and things like that.
Just getting introduced to the process.
Yeah. And then we work full on with them junior year.
And so for these students, when you really think about it, wow, they're gearing up through this process. There's a lot for them to do. And it's something entirely new to them. It's a stressful situation. It can be. It can bring with it anxiety. They've taken big exams before their junior year. Some of them have played in championship games. Many of them have participated in big performing arts, shows.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
They've been in stressful situations before, but this is a college preparatory school, and a lot is being put into that. So what I'm leading up to is, it really is great that there's somebody like you right here by the front door of this office. There's Mr. Fleming, and then there's 4 associate directors of college counseling, and they divvy up the responsibilities. But there's one Sue Lee. And so there's all of these students. It really is. It's really awesome that you're there, because they need Aunty Sue or an auntie or an uncle or somebody that has the knowledge and has the ability to kind of help guide them through that process. Do you realize that? Do you? It's an awesome.
I just do what I do.
Yeah.
The kids need help. You're right there. You don't want them stressed. You want them to have a good experience applying to college or doing their research, and everybody in this office makes it happen.
Yeah. So you don't need to be here but more than 10 seconds before somebody comes in the door and you say, right there, and they're looking for a gummy bear. And then 5 seconds later, somebody comes in the door and they ask for a mask because they forgot. And it's right here to the other side. And you've got it all. Anything that they need. But it really is, it's awesome. And the school recognized this 14 years ago when the yearbook was dedicated to you in 2008. So, you realize your role here, but what does that feel like when that sort of role is recognized, and this part that you play in a very important aspect of the school?
I wasn't expecting that.
The yearbook dedication, yeah.
Yes, I was.
That's good. They kept the secret.
Okay, it was a good secret, and I was just overwhelmed. And I appreciate what they did, but I just do what I do. I enjoy being here in the college counseling with the kids, and luckily I had Dan Feldhaus, and then I had Todd, and then now I have 5 instead. But it's fun because everybody has a different personality. Everybody sees it different. But our goal here is to make sure that our seniors, or actually our juniors first, and then our seniors, have the tools and the help to get to the next adventure, what I call the next adventure in their life. I mean, that's what, it is. And luckily for our Iolani students, they have the tools and the guidance.
Yeah, and then you're part of that guidance. One of the associate directors told me Aunty Sue is the embodiment of kindness, the archetypal auntie, and much more.
Oh.
And we need that. This is a stressful process. I'm sure that the parents who might be listening to this and the graduates will understand what I'm talking about. But there's so much importance played upon this decision, and probably too much, to be honest. But when you're in it, that's what you're involved in. And so you are there, and with your experience, to offer them a piece of chocolate, if that's what you decide that they need, or to provide a little slight kick in the cole, we might say, if that's what they need to get something in.
Definitely.
Right?
Besides the chocolate. Like I said, thank goodness we have Costco. I'm there every week.
Yeah, and yeah, is that how you do it?
Yeah,
so
and
it's in bulk.
Yeah,
Okay.
and lucky I only live 15 minutes away from Costco in Hawaii Kai. So it's easy to replenish. I always have hungries or need something. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's kind of like we were talking about coaching a few minutes ago, but it's kind of like coaching. Like everybody's the same, everybody's in the process, everybody's on the team, but everybody's different.
Yep.
And a good coach can see it in your eyes or in your demeanor, and somebody with experience, such as yourself. So is that how it is when they come in the door and that look in their eye or something?
Yeah.
Do you know what to hand them, or what kind of advice to give?
Sometimes you can tell when some of them are having a rough day, and I look on the list to make sure who are their college counselors, and I point them in that door. My job is to give them food and, make sure they're okay, and then they go see the experts, the college counselor.
You got to keep them on schedule too.
Yes.
You all do.
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah. But so many kids have passed through our office, and it's really kind of fun when I see them outside of Iolani, and I haven't seen them for years, and I look at them, and the first thing I say is, "What year?" Because I know their hours. Why, I don't know, but I just remember them. Some, of course, you remember more than others because they either was just, somehow more special, or the many rascal ones. Those I love when I see them with their own littles, and I say, "Ooh, payback time."
I'm surprised that maybe sometimes you don't have to ask them their year, because you seem to have total recall on some
more
of
than
these
others,
people.
just for whatever.
And that's a key to this position that you played, your connection to the alumni, because there's a lot of people on this campus who have obviously they're teachers, but they don't teach everybody. There are people that are working in other offices that see a lot of students, a lot of seniors, but not everybody. College counseling, before they leave this school, will walk through your doors, whether it's where it was when I went to school here at the Castle building or over here in the Weinberg building. And now there's separate college counselors, but everybody goes through Aunty Sue Lee at some point. That's incredible. And so who their, not to age you, but their fathers, or maybe
parents, moms, dads, grandpas.
Maybe grandpas.
Not so much grandmas, but Not yet,
Maybe
anyway.
soon.
Someday.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, not yet, not yet. But yes,
We'll get to that point.
or uncles, aunties, cousins. Yep.
And then you could tell them stories about their dad or their mom or their grandpa. Yeah, it's really, really kind of cool. And they tell stories. So Kavika Shoji came back to campus to speak to the faculty and staff. What was that, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
And he talked about being back here, the Olympic volleyball star, right?
Our special
and
guy.
He mentioned taking naps on that couch over there.
Or about the time that he almost caused a fire in my microwave because he wanted to warm up his chocolate chip cookies that he got from the snack bar. Well, he put it on too high and it went all the way up Weinberg building. And I remember Woody Milks and some of the other teachers came down to say, is there a fire going on? We still laugh about that one.
He didn't tell that story, but you just did.
No, it's for sure. He and I still laugh about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's hilarious. And so nowadays it's a little different because of the pandemic. This is not a hub of activity. Yeah. So.
Which is sad. I don't get to know the kids and I don't get to see them. And so when they walk in, they kind of pull their masks down they, I see them. But then if I'm outside, I don't recognize them unless they say something, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Because I used to have students in here taking naps, like they said, on the sofas. We only have one sofa now. We used to have 3 big ones, or they'd be sleeping on the floor or whatever. But it was always crowded, and that's how you got to know them, which was really special.
And not all of them were sleeping or taking naps.
No,
there was computers in here before the iPads, and they were
studying, or they would study together. I remember one year, this was before when we added on more, but it was just Dan and me. And I remember this. There were a group of boys, and they were smart, but they were kind of socially quiet. Mm-hmm. And they started coming into the college counseling. Pretty soon, it was a big party with other kids because those quiet boys shared their knowledge, and everybody was studying together. And that was kind of fun. That was really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. To see that. So
hopefully we're moving toward even more of a sense of normalcy, and then you'll have more contact with students and see their faces. You have mentioned Dan Feldhaus's name a couple of times.
Yes.
I do want to touch upon Mr. Feldhaus and the impact he made at this school. Tell me about your interactions with him, the longtime former college counselor.
The long time. They're a special family.
Yeah.
Feldhausers are special. I mean, Joyce is one of my favorite ladies that, the what Leonie Harbottle calls our peeps, our group of ladies that when we get together. But anyway, Dan, it was awesome working for him. It was very archaic at times. He didn't even have a computer. And I remember when we finally got computers and it was like, oops, this man with his big hands. There was some interesting conversations about him learning to work on the computer, but it was awesome. But Dan was one of the people who helped start what is now called HACAC, the Hawaii Association of College Counselors. He and Judy Hiramoto, who was one of our athletic directors, and some of the others who have retired from the DOE and all of that, they got together, and thankfully we have what's called HACAC, so that all the counselors in all the schools could work together. And I mean, so they helped each other. Like when we started with having the common app and all of those things, some of the public schools didn't even have access, to all of those things, but they worked together to make it happen, and Dan was one of the founding members.
Wow, that's awesome. And then so we see 2 of his daughters here every day.
Yes.
And what's really kind of cool is that Laura is situated in the Castle building, where I remember the college
That
counseling
was
area
yes,
to be.
our old office, which is now what, four
Upper school
offices?
counselors, yeah.
Yeah, and there's one, two, four offices that got divided into our big spacious area. Yeah,
And that shows you how important college counseling is. That was when the Castle building was brand new, and college counseling had a premier position there with the windows. And now that is here at the Weinberg building when that was built.
and we got even better windows. As long as I don't have to clean them.
And then Mr. Fleming will
He's,
be like Mr. Feldhaus. He will be an iconic figure in
Yep,
this school.
he is. Because they worked together for 2 years, and then Dan finally retired, and then Todd took over, and it was just Todd and me for quite a while. And then we added 2, and now I have 5 bosses.
The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, kind of.
And another Iolani icon that you knew well is the late Eddie Hamada. Tell me about your interactions with Coach.
He was the best.
Yeah.
He was the best. He was everywhere. Oh, so many good fun memories. What can I say? Except the best part is when we'd all be in groups and we'd be standing around and people would come up and talk to him, and he was always like, he was Mr. Aloha. Then he'd look at me or somebody, go, "Who was that?" And I would look at him like, "I don't know," but that's okay. You were fine. And I mean, everybody just, had a conversation with him, whether he knew their names or not. He made them feel welcome. And
There's always a person that has to do that. You
Yeah.
know, the president has that. The Queen of England has that. Somebody
I
to let them
guess.
know who that was when everybody knows you and you're meeting so many people.
I remember we just sit there and laugh later. And when we were living in Castle Building, he would come in and sit down, have his coffee. And of course, like in here, there was always snacks. And I remember one time, this was the best. One time somebody gave me a bottle of chocolate Max that were covered. He sat there talking story, and then the next thing we looked, half the bottle was gone. And we were like, "Oh my, okay, Uncle Eddie, I think you better eat real food now." But all I can say, he was the best ever.
Yeah.
He was the best ever.
I thought his weakness was ice cream, but also chocolate
Yeah,
covered
that too,
macadamia
but
nuts.
chocolate Max, or not just chocolate Max, any kind of chocolate. We had many on staff who would come in to college counseling when we were in Castle, and I'd have the table, one that was for the kids, but there was one special one for the adults. And they would walk in, and I would look at them and wave from my desk, and they'd walk straight to the chocolates, and I'd say, "Oops, bad day today, huh? You really need that." And they would take their chocolate and leave. I mean, it was just, it just happened that way. But
And so when I mention his name and the look on your face and what we're trying to do at this school through the Eddie Hamada Legacy Project is share who that man was and what he stood for, and some of the one team ideals that stem from him and his mentor, Father Bray.
Father Bray, yeah.
And part of that legacy project, Sue, rumor has it that the Eddie Hamada statue will be nearby here.
Which is fine with me.
You might see him.
I'll see him every day
Yeah.
for a while. I mean, I saw him every day anyway. I remember when his office was in that upstairs overlooking the football field, and we'd go up there and visit him and laugh and talk story at the end of the day and walk back down. And he was, he was just, I don't know how to say it. He was just there, a good person. And we had, if you talk to all the others who worked before me, like Dan and Joyce Feldhaus and all of them, they'll have even better stories to tell. But they're good stories that we shared,
the quality, I've heard this from several people, was he made you feel like special.
Yeah.
Or you're even in a crowded room,
Yeah.
just.
I mean, like I said, when he talked to the alums or people that came up to him, and then he'd whisper, "Who was that?" And I'd say, "You asking me?" I mean, those are.
But the person he was talking to had no idea that he wasn't 100%
I
sure
mean, he
who
was
that
just,
was.
asking them questions like, "How you doing? What you been up to?" and that sort of thing. And he just did it. And he didn't even think about it. And I mean, we had some special lunch. It was called the lunch bunch. First, mostly when we were in Castle Building, and so we had this big table that was against the wall as you walked in. It was a really big table, and we would all be eating lunch there. There'd be Dan and Joyce sometimes, and Judy Hiramoto, and there was Les Crandall, and other teachers, Mrs. Takara, and we'd all bring lunch, or sometimes we would order lunch, and we'd sit there and just talk story and eat. It wasn't a daily thing, but we would get together and just enjoy, and he'd talk story and tell us things, and everybody had their input. But we were called the Lunch Bunch.
That's very cool.
It wasn't exclusive. Anybody could join us, but the basics were us.
And so the current Iolani varsity football coach and one of the co-athletic directors, those are positions that Mr. Hamada held.
Yep.
Is Mr. Wendell Look, class of 78, and very few people, or a few, I wouldn't say very, but not many people know that you and Wendell Look are blood relatives.
Yeah, so I can boss him.
Tell us, share with us. It's just us. Share with us the stories of young Wendell.
Well, every sport that he played, we always were there watching him. I remember watching him play baseball at the stadium when they would reconfigure it.
Yeah.
And we were all in the stand. I mean, from when my sons were little, we'd always be there to support because he was there. So Wendell.
Yeah, people don't know that he's a baseball player.
Oh,
like
he was
pitched
good,
a complete game victory in the state tournament.
We watched every one of those.
And the football player.
And the
we should
football
mention.
players. Yeah, he was there. We watched all his games.
But what about before that?
Before that?
What about before when
he was little? Well, he's so... I hate to tell you this, but he's so much younger than I am, right? He was little. And, I mean, he was just this big kid growing up. But most of the time I wasn't there because I was in college or whatever. But he was there running around with the other little cousins.
you weren't in charge of him?
Oh, gosh, no, not then. I had my own kids to take care of. Shh, don't tell that. I mean, but... he got into Iolani, and so, we would watch the family. I did anyway. We would support him, go with, all of our kids. And I helped bring up Cody and Jade, his daughters. Whenever, after football season, when he and Linda and whoever, they needed to have a break and, go to that place on the island that Ninth Island, they call it.
Okay.
Oh, well, I had Cody and Jade with me, which was fine. They're like my daughters. But, it's awesome when we're first cousins.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, I'm the older one, so I can boss him. Maybe he thinks not, but I know how.
So it's is it neat for you to see what he's done here at the school?
Oh yes,
over the decades?
It's awesome because he had Mr. Hamada too. Mr. Hamada was like his dad in a sense, guiding him and grooming him. And so when Wendell was, given the honor of being the next football coach, that was really special for us, for everybody. And I think he's done an awesome job.
Yeah. And this year, was really memorable. What they accomplished, and I should say years, because it took years.
Yes.
To get that season in.
Yeah. And,
they did really well.
Players didn't have that much practice time and all of that, but look, they came through.
And as the athletic directors, along with Mo and Eddie, how this pandemic seasons have been, really hats off to them and their coordination and leadership. And we did a podcast interview with Wendell as well, and it was cool to hear what he had to say when he did become the football coach and he did consult with Coach Hamada. And he said the thing that he remembers is be your own man. And he very much is, but is carrying on the legacy of the school and the one team ethos in his own way.
And then I always tell him, you need to be thankful because Linda's your wife.
Truer words cannot have been said.
And then
Thank
what? He just goes, his normal, and I just laugh.
Is that the way he's always been? That kind of.
Well, I didn't really see him that much when he was growing up because I was married. I was in college and I got married and had my own. But we would see him playing, but we would have family dinners and everything. But it was like, he was doing his own thing with his friends. But later on, as we were all here at school at Iolani together, we had more special times, and then we spent time together with our families. And then like I said, after he had Cody and Jade, they were like my extra kids. So, and I'm proud of what he's doing.
Yeah,
we are. Our whole family is.
That's great.
Yeah. And then of course Linda was the water polo coach for a long time. So I guess you could say our family's kind of very involved in athletics.
Yeah.
First, and then all of them were involved in musical theater and that kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well balanced.
I hope so. I'd like to think so.
Another thing about your role here in the school I've seen is the camaraderie that you have with other people who work in offices, long-time members and maybe some that are a little more new. But can you talk about that with the classified staff, as they call it, and some of your interactions with your friends here?
We're called the ladies. We are. We know that. I mean, it just happened. We all work together. We see each other outside, and even a lot of the retirees join us outside, and we celebrate birthdays or happy occasions. But whenever you need help, like all you have to do is send out an APB and our coconut wireless, and everybody will say, "Oh, I can help you," like for graduation, for putting on the hakus and all of that. Mostly the hakus, because you have to put it on the girls and tie it and fit it. All the ladies come out and help.
Yeah. It seems like you could never have enough because it's kind of goes down to the last few seconds.
Yeah. And then like AP, whoever can help, and just whatever. All you have to do is ask. And the ladies here, they're an awesome group. I love working with them.
Some of you guys have Facebook, and we see you have your lunches and different travels.
I'm not on Facebook. I don't do those things, but we do spend time. And then, like all the retirees, when we get together, even with some of the teachers, like Anya Nishige and Daryl Kuyoka and Joe Akamine, they join us, and Tony Brown. I don't know. A lot of people may not remember Tony, but she was AV, and she was also a counselor. And we just, we go to Feldhouse's house sometimes. Not so much now, but before, and just sit around and relax. But yeah, I mean, being here at Iolani, working, it's called work, but yet you get up every morning. I get up in the morning and I feel like, okay, here's what I have to do today, but it's not like, oh, I have to do this. It's like, this is what we do here. And I don't know. Someday I will retire because, like I told my massage therapist, my body's getting kind of creaky, find me a new one. But that's not going to happen. So one day I will, and there'll be somebody else to, replace me, like how they replaced, like there's Sarah Yamamoto, who's Daki Noi's daughter. Now look, Sarah is working where Vivi Toto was.
The business office.
Yeah. I mean, and there's others along the way.
So that all being said, this might be a difficult question or maybe easy. What's your favorite memory so far working here at Iolani School?
Too many.
Yeah.
Too
What's
many
popping into your head first? I told you it'd be a tough question.
Tough questions. I guess graduation is one of my favorites. Watching the students line up, walking to be seated, then walking out, and all the teachers and faculty lined up to wish them good luck.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Me too.
It is. It's special. Really special.
Yeah. Having that chicken skin right
It's there's a lot of special occasions, But that's the end of one adventure, and on to the next one.
Okay.
Sorry.
now. No, I understand.
And I don't know. I guess other schools do that. I never had that at Kalani. Our teachers were there, but they weren't really involved. We had one college counselor, the poor woman. We drove her nuts, probably. And we did our own research. Most of my friends ended up going to UH. I was one of them that really wanted to go away, and my parents were fine with that. But here, I mean, it's just not only our office, it's everybody, like the teachers and coaches. They write recs for the kids, positive ones that help them if they want to go into sports or if they want to do theater or they want to do art. Those people help make their college applications complete. And like all the college counselors here they are the ones who guide them. But at graduation, when you see them lined up and walking through at the end, I don't know.
Yeah, it really is incredible. Like I mentioned earlier, you've got Tate Brown, who represents them as
And
the
he-
dean of students,
he
leading
leads
them
them in.
Yeah,
Todd meets them, or it used to be Dan Feldhaus, and then Todd walks them out at the end, and everybody's there to clap.
yeah, the cheer tunnel.
Yep, the cheer tunnel, and I haven't missed one. I'm always there at the end, on the side with the ladies or whoever.
My experience, and then kind of looking into their eyes, you're in the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't believe it's happening or whatnot, or you're trying to get through it, or you're thinking about other things. But I think for us on the outside, watching it happen, having seen these young people, now young adults, or if not adults,
Yeah.
since they were in kindergarten and moving on, it's
Yep.
extremely special.
I've known some of them since kindergarten, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And another special day is, yes, when they hear that the college, and especially when it's their first choice, they come running in yelling, I heard, yes, I got into my first choice, or I got a scholarship or something, Those are special days too.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, because they put in all the studying, all the time to be good students and all of that. And then, when they finally hear that they've gotten in one of their first choices or whatever, that's really special too. Yeah.
At Sue, not everyone gets into their first choice,
I know.
their reach school, their dream
Yeah.
school. You're looking at one of them. There's also that care that you provide and that everyone here provides for students that have been working hard and didn't make it into
Yeah.
the school that was at the top of their list. That happens.
That happens,
And
unfortunately.
that's part of the
but
process
yeah.
to have a reach school, or what did he still use that term? That was the term
Yeah.
used in our
Yeah.
day.
Same.
Yeah. So how does that unfold? What is that like to?
Well, the college counselors encourage them and tell them it's not the end of the world, because that's why they tell them to, do a reach, the for sure and whatnot. And it's not the end of the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know what? They come back and tell us, hey, I really like where I went. It's even better.
Yeah, no, that's how
And
it
that's
works.
what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. And like, there's hundreds of thousands of kids that they're competing against.
Yeah.
You don't realize.
Yeah.
I mean, and now that,
And we talked earlier about chocolate and gummy bears and such things, but tears are shed here in this office,
yep.
right?
And I have a drawer full of Kleenex, Kleenex boxes, but it's not only for us. The teachers know it's there, and I always laugh when they come in, because it's here in Weinberg, so that they don't have to go.
Yeah.
And they come in and they grab some, and I look at them and I say, "Which kid are you making cry now?" And they look at me like, "Why don't you ask if they're making me cry?" I mean, it's a fun thing, but. I know there's tears too, but hopefully more happy tears than sad ones. But,
It works out in the end, but in that moment, I'm just thankful, and I think our whole community is thankful that you're here to help with that process. This is anxious times.
It is.
This is a very stressful process for these young men and ladies. And
but hopefully my college counselors, they're good. They guide them through it and help them see that the reality is there's hundreds of thousands of kids just like you who are applying to the same schools.
yeah,
And don't be sad and don't feel like you're a failure if you don't get into one of those, but you'll have other choices.
yeah. And colleges, here's my 2 cents. College is what you make of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. High school is the same way.
Yeah.
You could be at Iolani school, and that comes with certain qualities, but it is what you make of it,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's your own experience. Do you have kind of a spiel about college that you share with people, students or otherwise, about college?
Very competitive, but there's so much to offer, and like you said, it's what you make of it. When I went away to Linfield Small Baptist College by choice, it was one of the schools, and they at that time scholarships weren't a big thing, but they did offer a little bit of financial aid. But when I went there, I didn't know anybody, but and at that time there weren't that many Hawaii kids, but just happened. One of them, who is still my best friend, came from Campbell High School, and we were at each other's weddings and everything else, and we're still really good friends. You meet a lot of people, and some of the professors were really awesome, and you had a few that were like, "Oh, where did they come from?" But I had a wonderful experience there.
Yeah.
And it like you said, wherever you do, whatever you do, you make it the best that you can.
One of the associate directors here told me that you are an Iolani institution. The students love you. The alumni remember you fondly. Mr. Fleming mentioned to me just the other day, he said, when they come back, they're not coming to see us.
No, they come to get chocolate and gummy bears.
But they come to see you. Maybe they get chocolate. Maybe they know that there's chocolate, but they come to see Aunty Sue Lee. And that's very, very special. Thank you for being there for everyone. You mentioned retirement.
I will.
Don't go anywhere.
One of these days, Todd's going to say, I
No,
think
he's
it's
not.
time for you to go. Yeah, it is. I might forget to do something that's really, really, really important. But I'll know before then. But,
No.
I love working here. It's been, just a wonderful experience and working with everybody. All the faculty that I come into contact with, all the ladies I work with, everybody will pitch in. Like, of course, maybe, I don't know. I just get on the phone now and say, excuse me, but I really need help. Can you do this and this and this? Not too many people say no to me. Can it wait a little bit? I go, yeah. It doesn't have to be today, but can it be tomorrow? But, like I said, graduation is the culmination for the kids, but everybody is there to make it happen. Chad and his crew, Mike Kevin Tomisato, like last year when we had to have the pods, and they were the ones that helped do it with Kathy Ota and Randy Mochizuki. They all helped. AV, they hooked up everything. They were up there on those step ladders, and I would wave at them like, I'm not coming up there, sorry. It's not my thing. And everybody made it happen. And look at Family Fair this year.
Yeah.
Even though it was just our families and whatever, the kids, it was a fun experience. And it was nice. I got to see a lot of alumni, and they all have kids now. And some of them came and gave me hugs and said, my kid is coming for kindergarten. You still better be here when they graduate. And I looked at them like, are you kidding? That's 18 years from now. I don't think so.
Yeah, many hands go into all
everything.
of these things.
Everything. And, everybody makes it happen. And that's the bottom line.
It's a real thing. Iolani, one team.
Look at what happened the other day when we had that giving day, where Mike Moses, who's doing an awesome job. I knew him when he was a kid. His dad played soccer against my husband because.
For Punahou.
Yeah, he played for Punahou, and they remembered each other when we were adversaries then. But it's like, look at how many people for that giving day. It was, it was just like, wow.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
And we want to maintain that connection so that when our young alumni come back, they will want to contribute like the older ones are doing.
So we are doing this interview on Tuesday, May 17th. We have about 2.5 weeks until commencement. Thank you for the time.
Yes, thank
this
you.
is a favorite time of year. We're going to see in a few days who the yearbook is dedicated to. That person or persons will join your fraternity sorority of yearbook dedicatees. Baccalaureate. Which is organized by your office, but that is really special, and those speeches are extremely memorable and impactful.
It will
so
be.
I'm looking forward to that. Leading up to the first Saturday in June 4th, Iolani School commencement. We'll be watching you. Thank you, and we'll be there to help.
Of course you will be.
Give us a call, what you need. I know you keep Harrison Lum busy.
Oh, yes. Many, I know.
But thank you for all that you do, Aunty Sue Lee and Iolani Institution, in and of her own self.
Thank you, JT and Kings, for listening. I appreciate. I don't know.
We will turn the conference room back over to you guys, and you will fill it as we get set to send the class of 2022 on their way to college and beyond.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the time.
Okay.